you surprised to see 20 holdouts on Mr. Jordan?
Well, I mean, the way I look at it is Jim got 200 votes for Speaker of the House, and if you had asked somebody that about 4 years ago, people would have looked at you and laughed. I think at the end of the day, we were in a position where now people can, I mean, they're out there. Their constituents will let them know whether they're for them or against them. That's true for all of us. We all have to, look at our constituents in the eye and tell them why we do something. So we'll see what happens over the course of the day. I expect we'll probably go back to the well at some point today.
Do you think that some of those folks will flip, though, before the day's out?
Not very, I don't enjoy being in the prediction business. What I know is we all have to go listen to our constituents, so we'll see what happens.
Do you expect him to offer anything to folks? Do you think this is a policy or rules-based disagreements here?
I mean, you'd have to talk to Jim about that. I mean, I think my perspective is Jim's standing up for the American people against this town, basically, and saying we need to change this place. So, people aren't looking for him to be, cutting deals. I think getting people to understand how you approach things, that's a different thing, right? I mean, how you approach the spending process, how you approach the CR appropriation fight, how you approach Ukraine funding, how you approach the border. I mean, I think explaining those things makes sense, but, deal cutting, no.
You don't think 16 votes is insurmountable?
Nothing's insurmountable, right? I mean, it's a matter of working with people, trying to figure out what you can do.
How many rounds should he go before you find a different nominee?
I mean, that's up to him. I mean, I'd certainly go for a while to go through the process. I mean, look, we had some debates. This is fairly open that we were trying to make some changes in the conference to see if we could go through some cycles there. The conference said they didn't want to do that, so now here we are, right? So we'll see where it goes.
Are you inside the party?
I think very much so, and I think you're seeing that there. I mean, there's a lot of people there that if I'd ask you again 2 years ago, 4 years ago, this individual's going to vote for Jim Jordan for Speaker, you might have said, no, I'm not sure about that. Jim's done a lot of work uniting the conference, and we're a pretty united conference on most of the issues and what we want to see get done. So we just got to work through this process.
But how do you change the votes of lawmakers who aren't opposed to Jordan because of policy, just because it's Jim Jordan and the faction of the...
I mean, you'd have to ask them and say, well, why do you oppose Jim Jordan? Like, give me your reasons for why you're voting no, right? I mean, is it just because you're angry? That's not a message. I mean, so, go to the American people and explain your vote. Explain who you're for. I look forward to all of my colleagues doing that, and we'll see that unfold over time. Thanks, guys.
This chamber, I mean, are you able to govern?
I think we'll get to a speaker soon.
How many rounds should Jordan go before you choose a different nominee?
I guess that, there's no Paul Ryan in this race. If you remember back when Kevin McCarthy decided not to run after running for a while, they brought Paul Ryan up, and he had a good brand nationally, and he had a decent inside game, and he could raise money. But there's no Paul Ryan. There is no close second to Jim Jordan now.
If Jim Jordan doesn't make it, then we're talking about it gets more complicated.
I do think Jim Jordan's going to make it this week.
If he doesn't, do you see McCarthy making a comeback, or Emmer being sort of the next guy with his hat in the ring? Emmer got a vote. McCarthy got some votes.
You got a vote.
I got a vote. That doesn't mean just because you got a vote doesn't mean you're going to be speaker.
Well, McCarthy,
if it does, I'll throw my name in there.
McCarthy had 8 people toss him out of the speakership, and 20 say no to Jordan right now.
Look, Kevin McCarthy is behind Jim Jordan, and he's got a lot of people who were going to vote for him today, who he talked to, that didn't, and I think he'll talk to the ones who did. And at some point, if Scalise is voting for Jim Jordan and Kevin McCarthy is voting for Jim Jordan, you look kind of silly to vote for them.
You think there's some deals he can start cutting with, like the New York delegation? A lot of votes there. They want salt, tax relief, other things they care about.
This is the reason Jim Jordan is the only viable speaker candidate we have. He's the only one who can get elected without cutting deals. Everybody, and that was the demise of Kevin McCarthy. And I supported Kevin McCarthy, but he had so many arrangements and deals that they became almost mutually exclusive. But Jim Jordan has gotten this far without a single deal, and he's got a plan to keep us from getting into a shutdown. And he's the only one who can reset the expectations that had been set earlier with conservatives. And that's why I think he's the only viable candidate we have. And I think he's going to get there this week.
All right.
Thank you.